Oh, what was that?
I probably just a coyote or a dog, something like that.
What are we even doing out here at night in the middle of the woods by the Blackstone River? It's dark. I can hardly see anything. If it wasn't for that full moon out tonight, I don't think I could see my hand in front of my face.
Yeah, so about that full moon, the reason we're out here tonight under a full moon in the Fairmont section of Woonsocket, Rhode Island is because, well, Ray, we're bait.
Bait? Bait for what?
We've come to Woonsocket to try to find a place called the Devil's Hole in the hopes of spotting a werewolf. Hello, I'm Jeff Belanger, and welcome to episode 295 of the New England Legends podcast.
And I'm Ray Auger. Thanks for joining us on our mission to chronicle every legend in New England one story at a time. We're always on the lookout for strange tales of monsters, true crime, ghosts, UFOs, roadside oddities, and all the other weirdness that makes New England like no other place.
Now, before we go exploring this monstrous mystery, we want to take just a minute to tell you about our sponsor, Nuati Herbals.
Jeff, we both talk a lot.
We do. And our loved ones know it too, which is why they're grateful we have a podcast. I mean, they finally have a volume control and an on-off switch for us.
That's so true. Whether I'm talking on the radio, singing in my band, the Pub Kings, or just need to soothe my throat, I reach for Howling Wolf Tea from Nuati Herbals.
Howling Wolf Tea has all natural ingredients like lemon balm leaf, licorice root, chamomile flowers, wild cherry bark, wintergreen leaf, and more to help soothe your busy throat. And it's caffeine-free, too.
All Nuati Herbals products are made by hand by people we know right here in the USA. I love that if you have any question about any of their products, you can email or even call Rod or Kimberly. They're happy to help.
Let Nuati Herbals help support your healthy lifestyle. Check out the Nuati Herbals website to see all their great products, and you will get 20% off your order when you use the promo code LEGENDS20 at checkout. Visit NuatiHerbals.com. That's Nuwati Herbals with an S.com.
All right, so you're saying we're werewolf bait here in the woods of Woonsocket tonight?
Yeah, we are. More specifically, the loup-garou, which is the French term for werewolf.
I guess French would make sense considering we're in Woonsocket.
There is a huge French population in town for sure. I think I actually have a distant relative here who used to own a cleaners like way back when.
All right, here's a little more background on Woonsocket, Rhode Island. It sits in the northern part of the state, right on the border with Massachusetts. Woonsocket Falls was first established in the 1820s. Blackstone River powered mills and the Industrial Revolution in this region. With so many mills and factories popping up, there were lots of jobs available. Many French Canadians came down from Quebec and settled here looking for work. By 1913, Woonsocket had the sixth largest concentration of French or French-Canadian people in the United States.
So a few Quebecois families come down here, then a few more, and the next thing you know, it's pronounced Woonsocket.
Exactly. And it makes sense they brought their beliefs and customs with them, too.
Of course, which brings us back to the loup-garou,
which is the French word for werewolf.
Right. Now, there are werewolf legends all over Europe.
A person who transforms into a wolf and terrorizes the town.
That's right. But in the French-Canadian version of the legend, there's a religious tie to it. Someone who's a loup-garou is a cursed person who brought that on themselves by not following Catholic doctrine. Like skipping confession at Easter could bring on this curse, or really any number of other offenses. You always need to be on your guard.
And coming out here in the middle of the night under a full moon is being on our guard?
Yeah, maybe not the safest move. So, by the way, the full moon thing about werewolves is really not part of the original legend. I mean, there's tons of full moon legends.
Right. They say hospitals are fuller during full moons.
Sure.
More women giving birth. Police stations are busier.
Yep, I've heard all that too. Now, the idea that people go a little nuts during a full moon goes way back. I mean, it's where we get the term lunatic and lunacy.
That's right.
Now, there's an old European legend that suggests you can become a werewolf by sleeping outside under a full moon on certain days of the year. But to be perfectly honest, it's never worked for me.
I'll have to give it a try sometime.
Now, there's also an old story that wolves in the wild only howl during full moons. But that isn't true either. I mean, they can howl anytime they want. Thank you very much.
So you're saying we basically have to worry about werewolves all the time, not just during full moons.
Exactly.
Great.
Okay, so let's head back to 1868 and search for the Woonsocket werewolf.
It's April of 1868 here in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Though Europeans have been living and working in this region for over 2 centuries now, the town officially incorporated only a year ago.
With so many mills and factories along the Blackstone River, workdays are often as long as the sun shines. Workers start early in the morning and go until the sun sets. As you can imagine, by the end of the day, folks are dog-tired.
That they are, and devoutly religious too. When Sunday comes, it's all about church and family. Problem is, there aren't enough churches for all of the faithful. Local Woonsocket Catholics have to travel many miles to get to the closest church.
A local priest is practically begging his parishioners to build a new church in Woonsocket. But volunteers are few and far between. Folks just don't have a lot of free time to spare on the building project, even if it is for the church. Plus, locals can't afford to spare their own horses to aid in the construction.
So the priest begs. He prays night after night. He says novenas to the Virgin Mary. And finally, his prayers are answered when the priest wakes up in the morning to find a beast of a horse as black as night with glowing red eyes standing outside of his cottage. The Virgin Mary appears before the priest and tells him this beast of burden will help build the church. But the priest must never remove the horse's bridle or it will be gone forever. Sure enough, the horse can pull carts of supplies and materials that would take 5 or 6 horses. And so the construction of the new church moves at a quick pace.
The priest tells the foreman to never remove the horse's bridle or else. The foreman agrees. Although they're grateful for the help from this powerful horse, something about his glowing red eyes makes everyone uncomfortable. And pretty soon, the priest suspects this horse is the devil himself, placed under some kind of spell by the Virgin Mary.
Work progresses on the church at a quick pace. In just a few weeks, the walls are up. Timber is set in place for the roof and steeple, and the priest is grateful that the Woonsocket faithful will soon have a church to call their own.
But one day, the foreman is too sick to work, so he tells one of his other workers to take over for the day. He also passes along the warning about never removing the horse's bridle, and the worker nods and gets back to work. The worker leads the horse out to Fairmont Hills in Woonsocket, right near the Blackstone River. They're going to pick up some stones for the construction. It's a hot day, and the worker sees no harm in letting the horse take a quick drink from the water. So he pulls the bridle off the horse for just a minute. Suddenly, a fiery chasm opens up in the ground. The horse transforms into a demonic beast with bat-like wings and roars back underground.
The worker can't believe what he's seeing. But now, wait, he's twitching a little bit.
I see that.
And it's getting worse. He's shaking violently. He just fell to the ground.
Should we help him?
We better stay back. Oh my God, he's growing. His hands are turning into claws.
Look at furs growing out of him everywhere. Run, Ray. We just met the loup-garou, a werewolf.
Back at the church, the priest soon learns what happened. By the time he makes his way back to Fairmont Hills, he can see the chasm is now just a dark cave near the Blackstone River, and the loup-garou is nowhere to be found.
This area is now cursed. People avoid the new cave whenever possible. Folks coming by on horseback claim their horse will only get so close and then refuse to go any further. Dark storm clouds will form over just this part of the woods, and pretty soon, the cave gets the ominous name, the Devil Hole.
It doesn't take long for the word of the loup-garou to spread throughout the French-Canadian community here in Woonsocket, and the Devil Hole too. Pretty soon, some of the more sinful among the town come to the Devil Hole to make an unholy pact with the devil. Word is they get what they ask for, but the price is not only their soul, but that they too become the loup-garou. They transform into a half-man, half-wolf, and hunt. And that brings us back to today.
Woonsocket lore still has stories passed around about the old-timers who swear they have a relative or a friend of a friend who was chased by the loup-garou. Certain areas of town are to be avoided.
We looked around the woods and didn't find any significant cave that could be the Devil's Hole. Doesn't mean that there isn't some odd cave out there somewhere, but we couldn't find it, and no one marked it on any maps.
Still, story survives.
Now, the good news is, if you suspect someone you love of being a werewolf, there is an old folklore cure. If you recognize your friend in wolf form, you need to get close enough to draw some blood. If you can make the animal shed some of its blood, you might break the spell. And then the person needs to get to confession right away.
Now, the loup-garou is a very Catholic version of a classic monster that we thought we knew. I mean, in the movie version of the werewolf, you become one if you get bit. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it, short of a silver bullet. Werewolves are victims in the movies. Good people, bad people, it doesn't matter. You were in the wrong place at the wrong time. But the French-Canadian loup-garou is a curse you bring on yourself by not following, churchy ways.
Jeff, it's been a while since you and I have been to church or confession.
Yeah, a long time.
Maybe we should get out of these Woonsocket woods, just in case.
There's got to be a song in there somewhere. Warren Zevon, Werewolves of Woonsocket.
And that brings us to After the Legend, where we dig a little deeper on this week's story, sometimes veer off course. After the Legend is brought to you by our Patreon patrons. For just $3 per month, they get early ad-free access to all of our new episodes, plus additional episodes and content that no one else gets to hear. Now, if you can help our mission to chronicle every legend in New England, please head over to patreon.com/New England Legends to sign up.
So I first read about this story in S.E. Schlosser's Spooky New England book, and there really isn't a lot out there on the story, but, it's a fun one, so we wanted to include it.
Now, I always assumed it was the movie version.
Yeah.
You've seen it on TV, movies, songs, Werewolves of London.
Great song.
Yeah.
Always great. You know what? You can say you don't like it, but you do.
You do. If you like Leonard Skinner,
Yeah.
it's the same song.
It's, Sweet Home Alabama.
Yeah, Sweet Home Alabama, and there's a third one, too. We've mixed them. There's 3 songs. I forgot what the third one is. Anyway.
Yeah, no, it's a classic for sure. But it's one of those monsters everybody knows. Yeah. Everybody knows the werewolf. The cool thing is, we've talked about vampires many times, right? Vampires traditionally were walking dead. They weren't sexy people at all. They've changed quite a bit.
Right.
Werewolves have not. Right? They're half man, half wolf. Beasts. Yeah. Monster.
Claws, right? And everything. Yeah.
All that. Werewolves have been pretty much stuck to the script.
Did we mention the hair? The growing of the hair in the story?
Of course. Yeah. We mentioned the hair and seeing that person transform. So, that's been pretty standard right along.
I guess I didn't realize they came from hell, though.
Well, that's
like a hell beast.
Well, because that's the Catholic version,
right?
The loup-garou, right?
I'd never heard that before.
No, before it was just you're a victim. You got bit.
You got bit.
Yeah,
and then that guy got bit before you. And who knows what the origin was?
You could have been walking to church, taking grandma, and oops, and too bad. Oops. But no, in the loup-garou, the French Canadian version, you bring it on yourself. It's a curse. And you become this fantastic beast. You ride on top of vans on your way to high school and surf. And then you become Teen Wolf and Michael J. Fox.
That's when werewolves became cool, right?
They were cool when they could play basketball, and Michael J. Fox portrayed them.
And then they made a sequel, and everything went to hell after that. So that's where the hell part comes in.
That was it. It did go to hell after that. But yeah, I mean, how many werewolf movies have there been? Right,
hundreds. They have to have been.
Lon Chaney, right?
Lon Chaney, right? And then they made dozens back then with him. Sure. And Abbott and Costello Meet the Werewolf.
Right.
I think that was one of them.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think every few years we see a new traditional werewolf movie.
So some of the imagery is so powerful. When you're out somewhere at night and you see the full moon, do you have like a moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I wonder if I stare at it, is something going to happen? I look at my hands, the back of my hands. Oh, there's hair there.
Yeah, right.
More than normal.
Right. Do you hear that dog barking?
Yeah, that's...
As we talk about werewolves.
Well, we always say we veer off course a bit. That's the dog.
Are you sure? Are you sure that's the dog?
I didn't put the two together.
Wow. Suddenly I'm concerned.
Anyway, that's my noon appointment.
Right.
But we can finish this up. We're in no rush.
So anyway, but no, I love these stories that stick around, century after century. Yep. They evolve with the times, but the werewolf has been pretty traditional. But the loup-garou, there's also in Creole down in like New Orleans, right? There's a loup-garou.
Okay.
which is like a Creole version of the loup-garou, which is still a werewolf,
Yeah,
right?
he just talks like this.
They talk like, oh, I guarantee, right? Which
Likes
is,
jazz music.
likes jazz and étouffée and all that stuff. So it's really cool. But yeah, there's still a huge French population in Woonsocket, and that influence, that culture came with it.
Yeah.
Right? That all of that, and so I love that little old city of Woonsocket has its own version of the werewolf.
I didn't realize it was known for such a cool thing. It's known for so many negative things, unfortunately.
Oh,
but
I know.
Now we have the cool.
Now you got the
cool
too.
factor.
By the way, this was not the first time we were in Woonsocket. Way back in episode 11, we were in Woonsocket for La Petite Rose, another French story, America's Only Stigmata, which is another
remember that.
Catholic French-Canadian legend. So episode 11.
Maybe that could be next week's new episode for the.
Ooh, that's right. Yeah,
for the
you guys.
new show.
We have new bonus episodes every week now, where we're
Yeah.
going to go back to the vault. So watch for us twice a week now.
If you've got a weird story of monsters, ghosts, UFOs, roadside oddities, true crime, and other weird history, please reach out to us anytime through our website. We love hearing from you. And most of our story leads come from you. Also, be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss a thing, and it's free to subscribe. Please also share the show with your friends. That's how we grow.
Thank you to our sponsor, New Audi Herbals. Thank you so much to our Patreon patrons, and our theme music is by John Judd.
Until next time, remember,
The bizarre is closer than you think.